teach you a valuable lesson. A beautiful girl like you should never go out in the dark alone.
Damn it, Shelly! Why do you do these stupid things?
I have to.
No, you don't have to.
I just want you to like me.
I do like you. But not when you act like a jerk.
Being a jerk is better than being a nothing.
I never said you were nothing.
You don't have to say it. I could tell.
You're wrong. Shelly.
From the haunted heartland in Omaha, Nebraska, my name is Brian Corey, and welcome to the Necronomicast. 38 years ago today, Friday the 13th Part 3 was released to the movie-going public, and it hit number 1 at the box office. On tonight's episode, I welcome Larry Zerner to the show. You all know Larry. He was Shelly from Friday the 13th Part 3. The days of the young girl-chasing prankster are behind him. Now, Larry Zerner is one of the most respected entertainment lawyers in Hollywood. Tonight, he's going to reminisce about the production and the aftermath of the game-changing sequel. Then later on, Larry's going to lend his keen legal mind to help us all understand the legal rights battle and the resulting lawsuits that have prevented Jason's return to Camp Crystal Lake and to the cinema. So sit back and relax, kids. We've got Larry Zerner on the Necronomicast. And now, joining us on the Necronomicast hotline for a late-night conversation, calling in from Los Angeles, California. You might know him as Shelly Finkelstein, but we're going to call him attorney-at-law Larry Zerner. Larry, how are you?
I'm so good. Thanks for having me. It's so late, though. I'm a little tired.
I know. What time do you have to be at court in the morning?
Bright and early.
Bright and early, of course.
Zoom court. We have Zoom court now.
Zoom court. Oh, yeah. That's how it's going nowadays. I want to thank you for being on the show. I was kind of looking back through our archives. You were on the show long before I was a part of the show. You were on episode 138 back in July of 2012. So another welcome to you. You were on the show before I ever was. And
that's when it was peaked. That was peak. 2012. I mean, I've heard it's gone down since then, but we'll bring it back up because I'm back.
That's right. We're going to bring back all the listeners now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we had Daniel Farrens on not too long ago too, and we had a great conversation with him. This is going to mean a lot to me, being able to talk to you, because my first experience, like defying my parents, not obeying the rules of the house, happened when I was about 8 or 9 years old. It was the summer, I think, of 1983, and I snuck downstairs to the only TV in the house here in Omaha, Nebraska, in our home. I snuck downstairs and turned on HBO late at night to catch 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there of Friday the 13th Part 3, the first real rated R scary movie, first naked woman, any of that. That's the distinction that I hold for Friday the 13th Part 3. And to have you on the show right now, it's just an absolute treat. So I want to thank you once again.
That is amazing. That, like, I understand that how that sears in your brain, your first R-rated movie. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, went to bed early. My parents were older. And so I had to get like the old TV cable guide and read, because all the kids in the schoolyard were talking about this Friday the 13th and Jason, and everybody that later that year wanted to wear hockey masks and everything. So I remember like looking in the TV guide and saying, okay, it's going to be on at 10, starting on HBO at 10:30. So I'd sneak downstairs after my parents were in bed, turn on the TV, and watch for like 15 minutes before I got too scared and I had to run back upstairs.
That sounds good. That's a good plan.
Yeah, right. So what's cool about the Shelly character, a pivotal role, a pivotal character in the franchise, kind of has Jason's mask and some other things in Shelly's bag of tricks. How did you become Shelly? How were you pulled into the movie when they were putting it together?
Well, it was sort of fated that I would become Shelly because I was at age 18 a wannabe actor. I was studying theater in college, and I had a job on the weekends and nights handing out movie tickets because in LA, they have these test screenings for movies. And I was in Westwood on a Saturday night handing out tickets to an advanced screening of an Australian movie no one had ever heard of called The Road Warrior.
Oh.
And these people came up to me and they said, "Are you an actor?" And, I thought maybe they had seen my great performance as Roger in Fairfax High's production of Grease.
Mm-hmm.
So that must be it. What else would you have seen me in? So I said, "Yes, I'm an actor." And they're like, "We wrote this movie and we think you'd be perfect for it." And that was Carol Watson and Marty Katrasser, the screenwriters. And they just saw me out there at 18 years old. There I was, fat, afro, joking around. They're like, "That's our Shelly right there." And so I gave them my agent's information, and that was Saturday. And Tuesday I got a call to come down and audition. And then I had to audition, and there were other people up for the role. Although I never saw them. I never saw another Shelly. But there were other people, but it was meant to be because it was like Shelly was me. So
sure.
That was it.
So when you were auditioning for the role and they considered you for the part, was the script finalized? I know there was there was all these headaches shooting the 3D stuff. So I'm sure there was rewrites and they had to kind of accommodate for that. But like Shelly's real talented with the juggling and things like that. Did that get added into the script later?
I know some of the juggling did, because I remember there was a scene in the movie where everyone was supposed to do those paddle balls. Remember those little paddle balls that would be like at the 99-cent store, and you'd whack them and there'd be a little rubber ball and go pop, 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 pop. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so they thought that would be a great 3D thing, right? Like everyone's going to do that. And then I remember, I bought one and I was practicing, right? But if you've ever tried it, it's impossible to get the ball to go straight. The ball just goes up and down and round. It comes back to the paddle, but it doesn't go out to the camera.
Sure.
So they realized that wasn't working, and then I think they changed that to the juggling, because I said I could juggle, and they said, "Okay, well." They wrote that, so that was a little change in the script.
Oh, that's cool. Did you have to practice juggling for that, or were you kind of with your stage
I was a good
training?
Juggler. I was a pretty good juggler. I had learned to juggle when I was like in my teens. I had met this guy who was at the museum at the LA Tar Pits. He was a street juggler, and I'm like, "Will you teach me how to juggle?" And he did, and it turned out, and then later he won like the world juggling championship. He was the world's best juggler. That's who I learned to juggle from. I'm not the world's best juggler, but I was pretty good in my I could do a lot.
Oh, I thought that was great how that gag, the juggling gag, worked out perfect for the 3D film, and because you had the character of Andy, messing around with the yo-yo. You have the another great gag was the popcorn blowing up in front of the camera and all that. So the juggling, the whole bit with that up there, was that hard to film? Would it take a long time to film that?
It was, yeah. I mean, there was a lot. I remember we did that a lot. It was because it was high. It's hard to, normally if you're doing that move, which is called a cascade, you're going around as opposed to through. It's and the thing was like 10 feet up, so I'd really have to throw it, and it was we did a little, but that's just part of the day. Everything took a long time in 3D. There were other things that took. I remember the scene where I had to throw the wallet to Vera in the store, and that took lots of takes because they wanted the wallet to hit the camera, and that's tricky.
Right. So you're doing that, and then the thing about Shelly too, what I really like the character, man, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on the phone with you, but I just always thought he was just so funny because, not the best wardrobe, afro, but man, he's out there hustling, going for the girl. He takes on the motorcycle gang with no fear. I just thought that was great, man. I was like cheering for him the whole time.
It's good. I mean, Shelly I mean, most people like him. There is a distinct minority of people, maybe 25%, who hate Shelly. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't take it personally. Shelly's annoying.
Right.
He does a lot of annoying stuff. So don't I don't take it personally when people say they don't like him. But I've certainly heard people say that they hate Shelly.
Yeah, when I get the
but
chance,
more people say they love him, so that's okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Well, now when I get a chance, I try and go to these horror conventions that pop around the Midwest, and I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of Friday the 13th alumni. So I just wondered if you ever do any of those conventions? I know you're a super busy
Sure,
lawyer.
I do a lot of them. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. I mean, I wish. I mean, I was supposed to be in Monster Mania in 2 weeks. And,
okay.
There's no conventions anymore. But yeah, I mean, I've done them all over the years, and I hope to do more. I hope this ends so we can get back to conventions. They're so much fun. I mean, it's just a great time. I really enjoy doing it. So it's a nice getaway. I mean, I am busy being a lawyer, but so it's nice. Okay, I just go away for the weekend and meet people and have fun and see a city that I haven't seen before, and it's great.
Well, if you ever get a chance to hit the Crypticon circuit, and I know they come through Kansas City, so it would be great to meet you sometime. When you say 25% of the fans hate Shelly, does that ever materialize? Like when you go to these conventions, do they ever maybe pay for an autograph, then maybe talk a little smack, or are they usually pretty cool?
No. Nobody. I don't think anybody buys an autograph if you hate Shelly. I don't know.
Right.
To do. I mean, whatever. No. But people say they don't like the character. It's all right.
Yeah. I just always
it's
thought
not me. I didn't do it.
Yeah, man. I'm
just an actor.
I was an 18-year-old kid acting, and so you're putting that together. All these young guys together, all these young gals, the actors, actresses for the movie, because it was a pretty big cast. You got to have a big, body count in the movie. Did you guys all get along pretty good?
Mm-hmm. We did. We did. We had a lot because there was a lot of downtime, and the way we were set up, the trailers. I would say trailers. We had little dressing rooms, right? So, we didn't have trailers, but we had dressing rooms. But all that stuff, the makeup and hair and stuff, was maybe a quarter mile from the house and barn. So, and everything took forever, hours to set up. Every setup was 2 hours. So we were a lot of time just hanging out in in our dressing rooms together, just, talking. And yeah, it was a good time.
I've prepared a little bit by listening to different interviews that you've done over the years and read different interviews that you've done. And I was just always kind of thinking of if I had the chance to talk to Shelly, Larry, if I ever had a chance to talk to him, I was wondering, what else do you think was in Shelly's bag of tricks, his whole world?
What is in there?
Right?
Food. There's probably food in there. I would say food.
Yeah. He's got
the mask, 2 masks, spear gun, wetsuit.
Right.
Food.
Spear gun, wetsuit, food. He had a condom in his wallet, so that was good.
Oh, the fake axe. Also the fake axe.
Yeah, and the tuft of hair and the fake blood. Sure.
Yeah. So it's full. I mean, that's a lot for a little box.
And he had the condom in the wallet. Can't forget that. He was ready for the weekend.
He did.
He was ready for the weekend.
He did. Well, it had been there since 1979, but whatever.
It was his older brothers that he just borrowed from. Yeah. Funny. So what was it like, being 18, 19 years old, you're filming this film, and then all of a sudden, you're done working on it. They edit it, they release it. It's 3D, big time movie, Paramount Pictures, and it's the #1 movie in America. Well, nobody listening to this right now is going to ever have that feeling in life. What was it like?
It was great. I mean, although at the time they weren't. I did know it was the #1 movie in America, although it wasn't as big a thing now as it is now.
Okay.
We actually opened the same day as Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was #7. So
that's right.
The one weekend I beat Sean Penn. Just suck it, Sean. I know his whole life is just trying to make amends for that humiliation.
That's right.
But it was not that it was #1. It was more that everyone was seeing it, and I was famous for a little bit, in terms of I was recognized on the street because, I look just like, it's like I'm fairly, recognizable. It's not like Shelly that looks like everyone else. So for a couple months, wherever I went, people would, would come up to me, or just I'd hear them whisper. I had that little bit of being famous, which was kind of fun when you're an actor. Didn't lead to any other jobs, but it was fun for that experience, because then it went away. I didn't have that annoying, the paparazzi were not stalking me.
Right. So after the movie comes out and you decide that you've had enough of the acting bug for a while, you said you were studying theater in college. Did you have lawyers was law in your family? What made you make the switch to law?
Well, so I was a freshman in college when I did the movie.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So then I continued and got a degree, and I had graduated with a degree in theater arts, and kept trying to, act, and it just wasn't coming. I wasn't working. I wasn't making any money. So my dad was a lawyer, and I had vowed never to become a lawyer, but he said he'd pay for law school, and I had nothing else to do. So I was like, well, I could sit, because I was temping, I had a temp job and just going to offices and filing and working and doing the Xerox machine. It was, it's no life. So I was like, all right, I'll go to law school. And luckily it turned out I was good at that. So
yeah, absolutely. And then so fast forward, now you're a highly respected entertainment and copyright lawyer. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
In Los Angeles.
I'll take the highly respected. I'll just say yes. Highly respected.
Right. Well, when I said highly respected, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. So entertainment and copyright. So that's why I kind of wanted to bend your ear. I know a lot of people like to get your opinion on things, but like over the years on this show, I've had the opportunity to talk to actors and actresses and producers and writers from the different Friday the 13th movies. And I had the opportunity to talk to for example, David Bruckner, who up-and-coming director that was attached for a while to make a sequel, a new Friday the 13th film with a script by Nick Antosca, and that we were all excited about that. That kind of fell through. And then Aaron Guzikowski writes a script. They were getting ready to film, and then there's rights, and then money, and then that petered out. It just seems to me, and all the Friday fans out there, all the fanatics, that there is just so much money that is to be made, and there's all this dispute about rights that guys like me don't understand because we haven't studied law. For the guys like me that haven't studied law, what is standing in the way of all these people just burying the hatchet in Shelly's head, so to speak, and making some money?
Yeah, okay. So, there's a lawsuit going on between Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham,
right,
over the rights. So, I'm going to make a nutshell version, although I have a long version on YouTube on Slash and Cast, if anybody cares, where I really break it down. So if you really want to know, go to YouTube, Slash and Cast, Larry Zerner, search for that. There's a couple I did that broke down the whole case. But basically, there is a provision in the Copyright Act that says that if you are a writer and have transferred your copyright, after 35 years, you can terminate the transfer and get your rights back. And the idea was that a lot of writers make deals when they're young and stupid, or just don't have the clout so they make these bad deals, and then the stuff turns out to be worth millions, especially, songwriters who make deals when they're really young and, they write classic songs and don't ever see any money again, and they're broke, even though people are still making money. So the idea was, okay, 35 years later, you can go back, get your rights back, make a new deal, and then to protect them. So that's what Victor did. He sent it was 35 years had passed. He had sent a notice of termination. The way the termination works is you have to give them 2 years notice of the termination. So we sent that in 2016, that I was going to terminate. But the law says you can only send this termination if the work was not a work for hire, and you were not doing it as an employee of the person who hired you. That's
Sean Cunningham's thing. He's saying that Victor's a work like a hired hand.
Victor's saying that he was more like an employee than a independent contractor. And so then in these situations, you look at issues like, where do they work? Do they work at home or do they work at an office? How are they paid? Are they paid by the project or are they paid by the hour? Can they do other work or not? Where they give, what was the tax? How was taxes done? How much control do the employees have? Right. If I hire someone to paint my house, right, I'm employing them, but they're not my employee, right? They do what they want. They come when they want. They do the work. I don't, and then I just say, okay, good, and I pay them. That's an independent contractor. And so the question is, was Victor more like that, like an independent contractor, or was he more an employee? And the courts the court ruled that he was not an employee, and therefore the termination was valid. And so right now, Victor owns the rights to the script of the first movie. And therefore, if you make any new movie, now keep in mind, these terminations only apply to new works and new deals. It doesn't stop them from distributing the old movies, or even in new formats like the Scream Factory box set. They can still do that. That's not affected. It's just making new movies they can't do without Victor's permission. And that case is on. So Sean appealed that. The appeal was heard in February. We're still waiting on the decision of the appellate court.
Is that
the appellate court could?
I was going to say, I'm sorry, but I was just going to ask, is that being held up because of COVID and things like that?
No, it's not. It's just their judges do whatever. I mean, some cases they can do. I mean, usually it takes 3 or 4 months at a minimum. I thought we'd have a decision by June. We haven't yet, but sometimes it's not crazy unusual for it to be 8 or 9 months for it to be to get a decision.
So the original is what we're talking about, like 2 through 12, 12 movies. 2 through 12 are separate of this, and Paramount or whoever owns the rights to those movies, like you said, they can still reissue them on Blu-ray, make new things, and still kind of
they can still put out the first movie.
Okay. But
it's what they can't do is make a new movie with Jason, because Jason was created in the first movie, and therefore Victor owns the character of Jason, even though, yes, he didn't want that Jason to pop out at the end of the movie, and it wasn't his idea. He got the credit for it, so he gets, he gets to own it, and so that's how it works. So
he gets Jason, Jason's mom. Does he get the Camp Crystal Lake? Those kinds of things.
Camp Crystal Lake, yes.
So
but it's Jason. I mean, they can't make a movie without. I mean, if you're gonna, it's not about either. It's about Jason.
Yeah, why bother?
Right? If you're making a movie, you're making a movie about Jason, and in theory, they could make a movie with a character named Jason who has a different backstory. But no one has jumped. Maybe at some point they will do that, but I think they're way. I mean, we can get a decision tomorrow.
Yeah, so whenever the decision comes out, now, can there be another appeal? Can this keep going? Like, is it realistic that they will never make another Friday the 13th film?
Whoever loses could appeal to the Supreme Court, but almost like 0.01 chance that the Supreme Court would take a case like this. And the other thing is the appellate court, they could rule for. They could uphold the decision, say Victor wins, so that's it. They could say, no, Sean wins. Or they could say, you know what, this really should have been heard by a trial, because there was never a trial. It was the judge who just decided. The Second Circuit said, you know what, we really need a trial. We need a jury to decide this question, in which case there'll be a trial sometime in, 2022.
Sure.
That'll be the worst.
Right.
That would be the worst possible scenario. Because of COVID, everything got stretched.
Yeah.
So then there wouldn't be any decision. And until there's a decision, there's no new movie. And, no one seems to be in a rush to make a deal. I don't know what's holding up, but, both these guys are old. I mean, I think Victor's almost 80 and John is 78. So it's not like,
Yeah. I'm just looking for a glimmer of hope for us fans out there, and it seems like if Victor wins, then he can just sit down and say, well, let's make another Friday the 13th film, but it's on my terms. Is that pretty much it? Then he can wheel and deal it to the studio.
No, they both, because he only owns the first movie. He doesn't own the Jason from the other movies. So they still have to work. And there's the other wrinkle that just makes it more confusing. I know, copyright law.
Right.
Here's the real other wrinkle. He only owns the rights in the United States. He does not own any rights outside the United States, even to the first movie, even to the first script.
Wow.
So you can't make a movie unless they make a deal. And part of these issues is that it's this issue, which is very difficult, and there's really no answer to this, which is that how do you solve the merchandising issue, which is if you're selling a Jason doll, right, a part 3 doll or a part 7 doll, what percentage of the money that is going to Sean for his royalty on that should be split with Victor? Now, Sean would say, well, very little, because he had nothing to do with adult Jason, Hockey Mask Jason, Jason Goes to Hell Jason, nothing. So, but Victor, who has not gotten much money, I mean, Sean has made tens of millions of dollars over the years, and Victor has made $250,000 over 40 years.
Wow. Is that all? Just 250?
In residuals. And that's what his residuals have been.
And he only gets, and those are residuals just off the first film.
Yes, he gets no residuals on the other. You may get a little bit on other movies. I'm not sure how that works.
Wow. But
anyway, that's what he gets. That's what he's gotten. So that's, $8,000 a year or something like that. It's not, it's tiny.
No, yeah, especially for the entertainment juggernaut that it's been for the last 40 years.
But I don't know if the court said we're going to do another trial, if the court sent it back for trial and there's not going to be a trial for, a year and a half, 2 years, and, then that would be appealed. Somebody I think might step in and go, okay, we got to make a deal because it'll be dead by then. What are we going to do? Wait another 4 years to come back with Jason? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, because part of the appeal.
They'll be dead. I mean, right? You're just like there'll be no interest anymore. You just sometimes. They're just going to be cutting their. Just like in case of spite, we'll just let it die.
Right. So is this any different than what's going on? I just saw not too long ago that Clive Barker now is trying to get the rights back to Hellraiser. Is there anything similar to that?
That is very similar.
Okay.
He's saying that he has the rights. He's doing the same kind of termination and wants his rights back on the first movie.
So, okay, so if they were trying to make a, because we talked to David,
the same lawyer, Clive's lawyer is Victor's lawyer.
Oh, okay. So he just refiled kind of with different parties involved.
It's a little different. I don't have it on tip of my fingers, but it's a little different. But basically, he is trying to get back his rights.
Okay, because we talked to I mentioned David Bruckner earlier. It came out that he has been hired, or he's in line to direct a reboot or another Hellraiser movie that they want to do, but I guess now that's going to be kind of in the air, maybe.
Well, yes and no. Victor, remember I said earlier that you have to give 2 years notice of the termination. So Clive gave his notice in December of 2019. So as long as they get a movie out before December of 2021, they're okay.
That's theirs.
Now, can they get a movie out by December 2021? Depends on, what happens with this country.
And a global pandemic, and making another Hellraiser movie is kind of down on the totem pole a little bit. Well, it just seems like with
you got to get it out. You got to get it released too. You got to get it released. Not
right.
Just get it made. You got to get it released.
Yeah, you got to get it out in theaters. So it just seems like the Halloween movie that came out in 2018. Now they're making more. They got John Carpenter on board. So that I know the rights have with all these movies kind of twist and turn and go in and out. I mean, you had the Akkad family, and then there's
but that one's easy because John was always involved, and John always had the rights. So it's like, we just had to go to, I mean, well, it was really the Accods who had the rights, but I mean, they were always working with John. So they had a deal. I mean, it wasn't that.
So that was pretty clean.
Complicated. As far as I know, it's that they never had a dispute, John was always getting paid for all the movies.
And then in the last one I see, and I don't know if you know a lot about this one, but with Nightmare on Elm Street, it seems like the rights automatically reverted back to the Craven family. Is that how that worked? Because Wes wrote it, directed it, produced it, right? He had all that. You didn't have the issue with Victor and Sean where there was one person who wrote it, another person who directed it. It's just, so he did get back his rights. I mean, they sent the termination and got back the rights, and they can, I mean, maybe one day they'll reboot Nightmare in a better than last time. right. Do you ever, and I thank you for all your expertise on this, because breaking it down for, I read it and I'm like, well, I don't get this and I don't understand this. And why does he have the rights in the United States and not here, or however it goes, it's just nice to kind of hear it broken down, because at the end of the day, us fans, and you're in there too, you just would like to go to a theater or just see another Friday the 13th film. You got some nostalgia for it.
It's killing that they can't get their shit together and get this done. I mean, I know Blumhouse wants it. I know LeBron James wants it. I mean, people want it. People want to take it and make these movies, and that, they're just, no, we're just going to hold on to it and not let it happen. It's a crime. Yeah, it really is.
Last thing, were you still have the acting bug? Do you ever, would you welcome like a little cameo role and something like that? Would that be fun?
Yeah, no, I mean, my clients put me in their movies. I'm in Dan Farnsworth's movies. Yeah. I mean, he did The Haunting of Nicole, and I play the guy who finds the body.
Yeah. I saw you in that.
Me and my dog are in that. Yeah, see, I'm still doing it. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that. That's me and my dog. We're very happy.
When I was talking to Daniel, I made sure to revisit all those movies that he was a part of, and also the wonderful documentaries that were made. And so, I want to thank you for your time here today, and also just, thank you for all your service to the fans over the years, because it's great to watch these documentaries and to have opportunities to listen to their favorite stars from, and think about, I watched part 3, and I've got some kids coming up and learning about horror movies, and I'm kind of making them. I'm taking my time with the kids, but they're going to learn who Shelly is, and then they can.
God, they are not going to give a shit about Shelly.
But they'll just think it's cool that this guy in this old movie. Are you sure this movie is in black and white, Dad? No, but they see this guy.
I mean, that's what I feel like. These movies are so old. Like, to me, it's like when I was growing up, the Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, that's the same time difference.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
When I was a kid. And that kind of makes me feel old.
Yeah. But, what's cool, I just look back and I can relive a little bit of my childhood, just remembering how I felt on those summer nights back in 1983, sneaking down, we had a split level house, sneaking down the stairs, and we had one TV with cable, and turning it on and making sure my parents didn't wake up, and watching 15 minutes here, the next night maybe 10 minutes, and then maybe over the weekend watch a half hour. It took me all damn summer, 9 years old, but I finished Friday the 13th part 3, and it's been really so much fun having you on the program, and I want to thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And if people are listening and want to, keep updated about the lawsuit, just follow me on Twitter. I'm at Zerner Law for the thing, and then I'm at Larry Zerner for acting stuff or personal stuff. But if you want the updates on the case, just follow at Zerner Law, and I'm keeping people updated whenever there's news.
That's great. And thanks for being such a great guy to all the fans that do enjoy these movies, and because it means a lot to us. It really does.
Sorry.
Oh. Sounds like your dog found another body.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason's here. And she's trying to warn me.
Yeah, you better go get it. Okay. Hey, Larry, thanks again, and take care of yourself, and just enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll talk to you soon.
The rest of the night, this late night.
Yes, this late night under a full moon.
Late night. Time to go to bed now. Okay.
Good night.
All right. Thanks for having me. Okay.
Yep. Bye-bye. For God's sake, will somebody see what that dog wants? That was Larry Zerner, one of the top entertainment lawyers in L.A. You know, we talked to him for about, I talked to him for about 35 minutes there. It's a good thing he doesn't send me a bill, you know. Anyway, Larry Zerner, really cool for him to be on the Necronomicast. That was Mr. Andrew Vogt laying it down. So yeah, Larry Zerner, we don't know what's going on with Friday the 13th, but we're going to find out pretty soon. We don't even know what's going to go on with the Necronomicast. I'm kidding. I've got 2 or 3 interviews in the can. I'm mixing them right now. A really cool guy, John Borowski, is going to be one of the upcoming shows. All about true crime, serial killers. It'll be nuts. It'll blow your mind. And a couple other surprises up my sleeve. So, it's time to get some sleep, everybody. Necronomicast episode number 185. Copyright 2020.